What's up guys, it's me Lego Paradise here, and today I'm going to show you how to build this working Lego pinball machine. So first, let's take a look at how it works. To start your game of pinball, you'll first need a pinball, which you can launch into the playing field by using the firing mechanism built into the side. And you can see how high of a score you can get by seeing how many times you can hit the pinball while avoiding the obstacles. And you can test your skills to see how long you can last before the pinball eventually falls down the hole past the flippers in the middle. And it's also quite a compact design, which means you can even use it in your minifigure-scale creations. I'll be showing you how to build the pinball machine in several sections, so let's take a look at the pieces you're going to need. Okay, so here are all the pieces you're going to need to build the first section of your working Lego pinball machine. And once you have your pieces, you can start off by taking a 1x3 brick and a 1x4 brick and just attach that underneath. Then next to that, you take a 1x2 brick, place that there, and a normal 1x1 brick and fill in the gap just there. And then you take your second 1x2 brick and place that like that. And here's where you can take two of your 1x1 Technic hole bricks and place them on either side of the 1x2. And this is where the flippers are going to be held in. Then to the side of that, you can take a 1x1 brick with the bar attachment on the end and attach that so it's facing upwards. Then a 1x4 brick to secure those pieces in place. And next to 1x4, just take a 1x1 brick with a stud attached to the side, and that goes on the end there. Then you can take your second 1x4 brick and place that underneath. So don't forget, you'd be building it like this. And you can take two 1x1 plates and attach them underneath of the 1x1 brick with the stud on the side. And just stack them on top of each other like that. Then you can take your second 1x1 brick with the stud on the side and just place that on the end there. And then around the front, you can take a 1x2 tile and place that in here, so it should be a stud gap on that side. And then take a 1x1 tile and place that there, and again leaving a stud gap in between them. Now to build the axles that will hold the flippers, you just take two of these 1x4 Technic bars with the small stopper piece at the end. This is quite important. And just slide them through the bottom so they go up and they stick out the same way that this 1x1 brick with the bar sticks out. And you can just secure these in place with some 1x1 Technic gears. And you just do the same for the other side. And you can start to see where the flippers will be held on the top. Okay, so here's what you're going to need for the next part of your pinball machine, and this will be the playing field. And in case you can't tell what this piece is, this is just a Lego Technic rubber band. It's approximately 2x2, and you'll just need one of those for this step. And this piece here, it's also a bit tricky to see. This is a Lego Bionicle eyepiece. So once you have your pieces, you can start off by taking a 1x4 plate and a 1x2 brick with a Technic hole in the centre and attach that there. Then next you can build up the sides using some 1x1 plates and just do two on each side. And next, on top of the Technic brick, you can take a 1x2 plate and that just goes there. And here's where you can put another two of your 1x1 bricks with the bar on the side, and this time you place them so they face underneath. And here's where you can start adding a bit of decoration to the board of your, or the playfield of your pinball machine. And here I'm creating a yellow stripe, and for this I use a 1x2 yellow plate. And you just build this up with a few more 1x2 red plates. And this creates a really cool effect, and this is kind of like a real life pinball machine has, because they have those fancy graphics and interesting designs on them. And then on the end you can just take a normal 1x2 tile to finish that off. And then on the sides of that you can simply take two 1x1 bricks with the Technic hole in the centre and just place them on either side. And on top of those you can take a couple of normal 1x1 bricks this time and just place them directly in the centre on top of those. And you can finish off this area using a 1x4 arch brick. And you can see this is the start of the hole where the ball rolls down into if you lose the game of pinball. And then on the end you can take a 2x2 tile, and this acts as a barrier to stop the ball going all the way off the table. And then round the back here you can take a 1x1 Technic pin with the stud attachment on the top and just place that in the centre Technic hole, and a 1x1 Lego Bionicle eye, and that just goes in there on top of the Technic pin. And this represents one of the obstacles on the pinball table. And then for the final part of this step you can take your 2x2 Technic rubber band and just attach that to the two 1x1 bar piece bricks on the bottom, and that should go on quite easily. You just loop that around and you see you're left with a loop of rubber band down the bottom. And just make sure that the rubber band is not twisted or has any creases, because it's quite important that the rubber band is straight during the later stages of the build. Here's what you're going to need to build the next section, and this will join the two previously built parts together. And you can start off by taking a 1x4 plate and two 2x3 plates, and just attach the 2x3 plates so they're on top of the 1x4 plate like this, so you should see the studs on the back. Then you can take a 1x2 plate with the bar on the bottom and attach that in the middle. And here's where you can attach two 1x1 tiles with the clips on them. And this is what you'll use to angle your pinball machine so it slopes downwards and the ball or the pinball will roll downwards as well. And then next you can take a 1x2 plate and attach that to one side, a 1x3 plate on top of that just to secure it in place, and you can extend the rest of it using another 1x2 plate just there, a 1x3 plate to just secure those two pieces in place, and then you just fill in the space that's remaining with a couple of other 1x2 plates, and it should look a bit like this. And now you can join all three of these parts together by first taking the top with the playfield and the bottom of the pinball machine, and just slide the Technic axles through the Technic hole bricks in there. It's pretty simple. And then you can join the two bits together using this section you just built, and you can see there should be one brick gap in between them, and it should look like this. Next we'll build the pinball flippers and their controls. So we'll start off by building the controls, and these require a 1x4 Technic gear rack piece and a 1x4 plate, and just attach that underneath that so it should be offset by a stud. Then you can take a 1x1 plate and just place that underneath. Then you can take a 1x2 tile in any colour that you want. I've just used yellow since it will stand out nicely as a control, and this is what you'll actually use to push the controls and turn the flippers. And do the same for the other control. And now you have both of your controls. It's time to attach them. And to help you attach them, we'll first start by building the flippers. And you can just use some 1x2 Technic plate pieces with these axle slots in the Technic plates. and they should clip in just like that. And make sure they're nice and free to move. And you can start off by just clipping in one on each side. You can always add in the second pair later, but this is just to help you align the gear racks. And the reason you need these to do it is because so that they'll work and they'll end up in the right position, you need to angle them so they're roughly about here. Then with your controls, you need to make sure they're nice and aligned together, so they both touch the two axles at the same time, because otherwise your flippers won't be in line with each other. And just slide them in and watch how they touch the gears, and they should go and fit just perfectly. And you can see this is what I mean when I say they need to be aligned just perfectly, because otherwise this will happen and you just have to redo it and try again. But you can see that eventually, if you can get them to both touch at the same time, they should be aligned and they should eventually fit together and be in the right position. And you might have to just take them out and redo this a couple of times, twist the axles around until you get it right. But you can see, for me, it only took me 2 tries and it should be pretty simple. And just secure those in place with a couple of 1x4 tiles. And then you can finish off the flippers by using the rest of your 1x2 Technic axle plates. They just clip on the top there. And on the other side, just there. Now you can test it out by pushing forward, and you can see basically how this works is each of the gear rack plates, they twist the Technic gears and they hit the rubber band at the end, and this basically bounces them back like this. Now we will build the plunger mechanism that fires the pinball into the playing field. And this uses another Lego Technic rubber band. This time we use a roughly 4x4 rubber band. And I'll leave a link to the sets which you can find that in the description below. So we can start off by building a bit more of the side of the pinball machine, and this uses a 1x6 plate and a 1x4 brick, and just attach that there so there's a stud offset, and fill in the gap with a 1x1 plate. And on top of that, you can take one of your 1x3 tiles. You can also use a 1x2 tile and a 1x1 tile, it's just a bit neater this way. And you can take a 1x2 panel piece and place that here. And then behind the panel, you can take 2 1x1 bricks with a Technic hole in the center and place them so that they're facing into the panel. And they should be joined together, and you should be able to see through them, and there should be no obstructions. And then on top of that, you can take another 1x3 tile, or if you really want, you can use a 1x2 tile and a 1x1, but it's just a bit stronger this way. And you can put this aside for now, because next we'll build the actual plunger itself, and this requires you to just grab the rubber band very carefully, and this is where you just have to thread it through the center hole of this Technic piece. And you can just make sure it's nice and thin, and you should be able to just push it in through the hole. And this is a little bit tricky to do, but it's worth it in the end. And just keep on pushing the rubber band until it's through the hole, and make sure you got a bit of rubber band on both sides, and then just keep that there for now, because next you can take a 1x6 Lego Technic axle with this stopper here, and just put it through the top of this Technic lever part, and just make sure it goes all the way until it can't go any further. Then this is where you can put one end of the rubber band in the gap between the stopper and the Technic piece. And then you can just make the handle a bit more colourful using a couple of 1x1 Technic bushes. And I've also used yellow ones just to match with the controls for the bottom. And then you can take this casing for the plunger and slide that in through the two 1x1 bricks. So it should go in just like that. And make sure it's not too tight, because next we'll take the rest of the pinball table, and with this loop that you have on the bottom, you just thread that over this bar piece. So I'll show you what I mean. You just need to make sure that the rubber band goes over the bar piece, and that should attach quite easily. And you can take the axle out if you want, might be a bit easier, and you can just place that back in and attach the 1x4 on these two 1x1 bricks with the studs on the side. And that should all line up nicely. And you can just test this out by pulling it back and letting go. And you should notice it springs back into place and it's ready to fire a pinball. Next we'll build the barriers that go on the sides and stop the pinball escaping. So you can start off by taking a 1x3 plate and a 1x1 plate and place that on one end. And you can take a 1x2 plate with a bracket on the side facing downwards and just clip that there. And then on the top you can take three 1x1 headlight bricks and line them up so they're facing this way. And you can see how the bottom of the brick should be the exact same height as the bracket. Then you can take your remaining headlight bricks and attach them so they're facing outwards like this, and just do it on both sides. Then in the middle you can take two 1x1 plates and place them on top of each other, and then you can smooth that off in the middle with a 1x1 tile. And then around the sides you can attach a couple of inverted 1x2 slopes, and they go on either side. And then take some 1x8s and simply attach them on top of the inverted slopes. And these are the main barriers themselves that form the edge of the pinball machine. And this little contraption that's been built up here is just necessary, so you have this bit that sticks out, and that means that when you attach it to the rest of your pinball machine, there's actually no gap there at all. And the way you do that is you just attach the two white studs on the bottom. They just attach to that 2x3 plate in the middle. And just make sure it's all nice and lined up. And you should be able to now see how the barrier and the sides of the pinball machine are created. Now we can build the last part of our working Lego pinball machine, and here are the rest of the pieces you're going to need to complete it. And in case you're wondering what I used for the pinball itself, this here is actually a standard size bicycle wheel bearing. And you can buy this from most bike shops, and I'm sure you can get it online. But unfortunately, as of the time of this video, Lego just doesn't do any small pieces that work well for a pinball. But I'll leave some links in the description as to where you can buy this bicycle ball bearing from if you want to use the same one. So we can start off building the board by taking these 1x5 Technic and Lego System plate pieces. And you can build up a 1x3 plate in the middle, and you actually need two of these just on top of each other like that. Then in the center you can use a 1x1 brick with a stud on the side, and this can be any color you want really, you won't be able to see it from the front. Then you can surround that by a couple of normal 1x1 bricks on either side, and you can secure that in place with a 1x3 plate. Then you can take two 1x1 plates and place them So there's a stud gap in the middle, and in that gap just put a 1x1 tile. Then you can put this aside for now, because next we'll build the neon light structures that go on the sides. And these are really simple to make. They're just a bunch of studs. So you start off by taking a green stud, then a red stud, and you place that on top. And you just repeat this until you've used 3 red studs and 4 green studs to create your light structures on the sides. And you just do this twice. And then once you've built both of your lights, you can attach these to the rest of the board. And of course these go on the gaps on either side, and you can secure this entire thing in place with another 1x5 Technic and Lego system plate. Just like that. And then you can cover up this 1x1 brick with the stud on the side using a 2x2 tile. And here I've used a decorated tile from a Lego Space board game set, because I think it looks really cool and it's perfect for a pinball machine. But really you can use any decorated 2x2 Lego tile that you want. And you can combine the board and the pinball table together quite easily by just attaching the board to the 2 exposed studs on the back of the pinball table. That should clip in nice and securely. And if you want to build your pinball table in your buildings or your Lego structures, you can just attach it using these 2 hinge 1x1 tiles on the bottom. And this way it allows you to angle it so it's got a slight angle so the ball will roll downwards. So you can clip it in and you can test it out by having your game of pinball. So I hope you've enjoyed building your very own working Lego pinball machine, and if you did, don't forget to check out my other how to build tutorials, including how to build a working Lego ATM machine and how to build a working Lego vending machine. And I'll leave the links to both of them in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time with some more Lego creations. Thanks for watching.